So, welcome back, everybody. We have a interesting session planned tonight. So, as we left last week, you had managed to take down John the Necromancer, even though he was kind of prepared for you guys and set up a form of ambush, setting up a force cage that trapped a bunch of you. But he wasn't really he wasn't prepared for Nadia's and Talari's teleportation prowess, and ultimately got the shit kicked out of him.
What you got sat on?
I was gonna say I didn't kick him, I just sat on him.
But you got thoroughly embarrassed, and so
That's certainly true.
And so you were able to wait for Krusk and some of his mages to appear and apprehend, and take John back to Azuth City. During the night, some things happened for some of you guys, and as you woke up in the morning, you would have noticed Thoradin. He no longer has two warhammers. He only has one that looks very similar to Storm, but ever so slightly different.
Okay.
Instead of one side being an eye with a thing around it, and the other side being three lightning bolts, both sides are three lightning bolts centered, and the face of the warhammer, instead of it being smooth, completely polished obsidian, is now cracked in three places.
It's highly suspicious.
That's
intriguing.
That's so weird.
It looks pretty badass.
That does sound quite badass.
He has combined his weapons into one massive weapon.
Thoradin's chest, because Thoradin's one of the very few that are bare-chested, you'll notice that the crest on over his heart is also affected by some kind of lightning looking things around the same brand that you guys were given previously.
Right, hey, how come he gets a token of allegiance?
That was one good friend.
He's been
we all noticed this, right?
Yes, you'd definitely see the Storm is now different, and he's only got one warhammer instead of two. I mean, you see him bare chested all the time, so
yeah.
You might have
Well,
just
he doesn't
toned
even
out.
own a shirt.
You might have toned out his brand or not, but those are
I mean, to be fair, Krusk has technically known him a day, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it's a big change. Hey man, I've only known you for a bit. You've already changed. I'll put that on it. Yeah, I'll be like, Friday, what's happened? Yesterday you looked different.
Yeah. Costume change.
I see.
Answer?
How do you get a costume change when you don't wear a costume?
I would also like to know the answer to this.
I may or may not have made a new friend.
I hope it's not one of Turi's weird shadowy ones, is it?
No. Not one of those.
Who is it?
Chaotic, evil people. I mean, he's technically evil, but
Oh no, not again.
For heaven's sake.
Who pledged yourself to, Thoradin?
For the religiously inclined, you would notice that the lightning bolts look very similar to Talos, the god of storms, on the storm warhammer.
Extremely evil. Remember below.
He is chaotic evil.
yeah.
Oh God, no!
No, he is
He
chaotic.
is evil.
Oh my
He
God.
seemed very nice when I talked to him. You know,
Wow.
he gave off a good impression. So
Oh my God.
Thoradin, I'm curious. What is your motivation here? Is it just gold you seek, or is it something more?
golden glory. But
He forgot all about you yesterday, and he's already noticed how much you like gold. You've got a
Yeah.
problem.
pretty
Sorry.
easy.
Was stats in the corner yesterday counting out his gold pieces? So
Yeah.
He
Very
did.
true.
We
This is
did
very
notice
true.
he was doing a lot of counting. It's not like Thoradin hides how much he likes gold. To be entirely fair.
I'm a pretty open book. Like, I'll say I'm in league with an evil god. So be it. He's powerful.
So what is this
Whatever.
one? Is this one gonna ask you to curse people?
Yeah, what did you want in return?
He hasn't actually asked for much. He's just given me a hell of a lot of power.
That'll probably come back to bite you.
Yeah, chaotic evil god just gave you power and doesn't expect anything in return. Yeah, that's that'll end well.
They're not all out to get you. They're just a destructive bunch of bastards. But, you know, that's what they're for.
I mean,
maybe he just wants you to break things.
Yeah, I'm good at smashing things with Warhammer. I think he saw that rage in me. I just need to keep it a bit controlled. Just certain people. Be fine.
Who knows? Maybe he just wants you to scurry around and just static shock people.
Yeah.
Hey, not every god has a price.
Most of them do.
Yeah.
This is true, but in my personal experience, they kind of do.
What price does yours have, Talari?
That's personal.
Leading question.
Isn't it just?
Yeah.
I object, leading the witness.
Well, again, that's not really necessary at this point. I haven't done anything to endanger anyone because of my god followership.
I feel like that was a dig.
No, you're the only. Your word is all we've got for that, right?
Yes.
Although,
This is before Krusk and such turn up, by the way.
Yeah. Nadia is going to look at Turi. What did Tyr say?
I think it's fair to say that here and I don't see eye to eye.
Did you have a row with another god? Did you have a row with another god?
Now, to be entirely fair, I was very civil, and I was very kind in my initial discussion, and his response was less so.
You had a row with another god.
That's not entirely fair. I think it's more accurate to say he had a row with me.
Well, I can kind of see why he'd be pissed. Like, you've been working for his enemy and all that kind of shit. Even, admittedly unwittingly, but still.
I did specify that it was unwitting and a mistake, and, you know, he just,
I'm surprised, Turi, because I wouldn't have thought that a strict code would have suited you. No offense intended, but.
It's interesting you think that after a single day. But I think for now I'm going to probably just focus on myself, look less into gods and the input.
They haven't really done you very well so far, have they?
No, and it seems the only gods interested me are of a certain kind.
I wonder why.
Destructive bunch of bastards?
Now, Talari, you can say I wonder why, but quite frankly, I had, you know, this is upbringing, okay? I didn't choose to get put into that death cult temple.
Everyone has a choice, Turi. You may be born into it, but you didn't have to kill anybody.
It's all I knew.
Also, Talari, if you are brought up, trained to do a certain thing and taught that it is right from your cradle, everybody around you expects you to do the thing, and this is a bit of a guess, but I'm going to go out on this one, and if you don't do what you're told, something nasty's likely to happen to you because you work for a freaking death cult. How much choice do you really have?
I mean, if it was...
Nadia, that's probably the nicest thing you've said to me.
If it was the right...
If it's conform or die, how much choice do you have as a child?
Yeah, well, a child is one thing. I'm sure Turi is no longer a child.
I agree with Nadia. I don't think you should fight who you are.
Even if that's a killing machine? That kills me.
We all
There-
have our path.
There's always room for redemption, and this is all saying that if they can kill Turi, you know, I mean, it's pretty hard.
Perhaps. Yeah, I mean, perhaps Tyr maybe wasn't the right choice for you, but perhaps there's another god.
Well, if she doesn't want a god, she doesn't have to have a god.
Who...
I'm very much not in the mood to look for a god right now.
Don't have to have a god. They're useful, but you don't need them.
In my current experience, I've found that most of the ones I've actually spoken to be rather manipulative and kind of pricks.
Haven't they all been evil?
Even Tyr kind of was a prick.
Hmm.
I mean, I can understand, but he was still kind of a prick.
Maybe you should go to, like, I don't know, a god of, I don't know, friendship or something.
There's a goddess of peace.
No, everyone needs a god. You just...
No, they don't.
Krusk, in your honest opinion of how much you remember as well, how many gods do you actually know of right now?
Well, you told me about Tyr and Cyric. Yeah, that's pretty much what I got right
You
now.
got-
But I'm sure there's another.
No, you got the
So
murder
how-
one, haven't you? You were there for the murder one. The one that blood
you-
sacrifice.
Oh yes, sorry, yes, I saw the evil
Oh.
shadow murder.
You've just heard about
And-
the storm one,
Talos, yeah.
Who's also evil.
so you got a 4.
Yeah.
I think
So far, I know about 3 evil gods.
Tyr is a good god. He just also happens to be a bit of a prick.
It just doesn't suit you. You're
The god
fine.
of war's a bit of a prick as well.
Have you met the god of war?
Yes.
Wow.
Did it go well?
Didn't go badly.
I mean, he was on my list, not gonna lie.
Yeah, he's alright if you like smashing things. You probably would have gotten on, actually.
Yeah.
Nah, he's not, well, just... There is no point fighting unless you're fighting for something. Just mindless conflict isn't
I agree. You need to fight for a god.
Wow.
an end in itself.
You will find your god. I have no doubt of it.
So,
Okay, Krusk.
and also it's his fault I'm a nut job. Well, slightly his fault I'm a nut job, which I wasn't too impressed by. Although he did offer to get rid of that for me.
That's a good question that you've brought up. How is it his fault you're a nut job, as you say? Also, I don't think you're that much of a nut job. I mean, look at all of us.
I am, for once, in the company of people who are bigger nut jobs than myself. I will tell my brother, and he will scream, frankly, because he doesn't like thinking that there are bigger nut jobs in the world than me.
Krusk is going
And
to kind
you're
of like.
all fucking nuts, with the exception possibly of you, Krusk.
Oh, okay, that's good. Krusk will look
You're just
extremely
naive.
pleased with himself. if when she says that, if possible, he'll look even more pleased with himself.
But that's not a good thing.
Oh.
You're all nuts.
Wow.
In a good way, though, yeah.
To be fair, considering what we're doing, I think you'd have to be nuts
You've
to do
got
it.
to be nuts. No, my berserker rage is his fault, apparently.
Oh, I see.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing.
What, that they're his fault or that I did them? You must have noticed. Actually,
No,
no.
I noticed that you got particularly angry at points, but I did not realize that that was because of the God of War. What did he do?
Angry isn't his fault. Me going into a blind rage and trying to kill everybody in front of me is.
Did he curse you or something?
Call it a curse or a gift. It's his touch, I guess.
Fair enough.
Interesting.
Paladin's possibly similar, actually. Possibly not.
I've seen you do the same things.
Yeah,
Well,
maybe he
it's-
does.
You're very similar in fighting style.
Yeah, it's his gift.
I feel like
And-
Nadia swings, Thoradin crushes. I
I
don't
mean-
know.
They're both overwhelming.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose like
Yeah.
Nadia more slices, doesn't he, with the axe, whereas you more like bash.
Although
Yeah.
she does now have a mace, and thus
Yeah,
is
that's
Oh,
true.
Yeah, that's true.
Same
Yeah,
thing.
you
probably
make
using that somewhat more similar to Thoradin.
Okay, I was talking about like big picture similar in fighting styles. This is
Ah.
granular.
Overwhelming force. Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
I have to say, I forgot to ask. I was too busy being cross with him, which probably isn't a surprise to many people, but there we go. You know, he was quite nice about it. He offered to get rid of it for me.
That's very kind for a god.
He seemed quite nice and also amazingly selfish.
Sounds about
Like, he was looking out for me because he considers me one of his, I think. But
That is
it's just sort
a
of shrugs.
that is an odd complex to have.
No, I have no interest in fighting just for the sake of fighting.
Well, let's hope that this encounter with this priest will not result in any fighting.
I'll
If
be
he's too much of a
prepared
twat,
anyway.
I'm gonna punch him.
Sure, Arg won't be too pleased about that, but fair enough. He'll probably deserve. Well, he definitely deserves it.
If he deserves it and I punch him, I can't complain.
True.
If I have to pull my punches, you do too. I mean, come on, I really want to beat him.
Yeah,
Please
if you
shut up,
punch
this
him,
guy.
you'll probably kill him.
Also, has anyone actually figured out what we're going to say to this guy? I mean,
I have
Krusk
What the
was.
fuck do you think
Multiple
you're doing?
questions.
I mean, Krusk was kind of the main guy that was going after him, and he's kind of, I don't know, been reset, I suppose.
It's
Well,
okay, I have a few questions.
I was going to start with what the fuck do you think you're doing and go from there.
Fair.
Although,
Similar to my line of questioning.
before we go off on one, we need to like get him to admit he's actually part of a death cult and work out whether he knows it's a death cult or whether he does think it's Tyr being weird.
Also part of my questioning.
Well, Turi, do all the members of the death cult do or have something that
She
would catch
didn't
them out?
know. Oh,
I imagine that he'll probably put through a zone of truth in which we'll find out whether he accepts the zone of truth or not. And
say you would.
Or remember,
we'll be able to know whether or not he's telling the truth then. And I have a few questions, and I also have this, and she brings out the death cult dagger. And I plan on asking him about this.
you do
And
realise
if he
though,
knows about this, then
Zone of Truth isn't all powerful. A person can dodge a question if they're clever enough.
They
that's
can absolutely
fine.
dodge a question if they're clever enough, but what you do in that case is go, do you know this thing, yes or no?
And
which
if he
case-
continues to dodge the question, then
The
he
answer is
pretty much
obviously
knows
no.
the answer.
I guess so. Well, at least as long as he stops doing whatever it is he's doing, then that's all I need.
Yeah, I have a few more slightly more intimate questions for him.
Don't stab him.
I
That's not a
promise
question.
not to use a dagger.
Or just don't kill him. Don't hurt him unless
I
necessary.
promise not to kill him. Already promised Arg not to kill him.
Wow.
Hurting him, however, is still on the list and very much what you want. From
I
what
didn't
you're
say
saying.
that.
Why do I get the feeling I'm going to heal this guy back to consciousness?
I won't let it get
Excellent.
that far.
Turi, no. You need to cultivate this friendship with Talari because you can punch them, Talari can heal them, and then you can hit them again.
Oh,
Huh.
Talari, we can have a whole loop. This is going to be great fun.
Do you think about this a little bit? This could be very useful as a torture technique.
Yes, I'm literally suggesting it as a torture technique. Keep up.
Well, sorry, I don't normally torture people.
Neither do I.
She is a nurse, to be fair. It's not in her arsenal.
No, it's not. No.
All that training of, which bits of, like, what does what and all that kind of thing. You must know which bits hurt.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Well then.
I know probably the best place is to apply a shocking grasp. For sure.
Nadia seems to think this is very funny.
If you could give me a direct access to his bloodstream, one quick jolt to his bloodstream will definitely get him talking.
Oh, no. You do not torture people for, like, information.
I thought that's what
That's
we were doing.
fucking No! We're just putting the boot in because we don't like him.
Oh,
I think
We don't
that's
torture people for information.
well, it's
They
an
just
So-
talk shit.
The zone of truth is for information. The torture is for fun.
Well, we have options at least.
Yeah, you don't torture people for information. It just like they just talk shit. They just tell you whatever, and then they can't remember half of it anyway because you've just fucking fried their brain.
Well, we just heal the brain then.
Yeah, and then they don't want to talk to you because they're too busy curled up in a ball whimpering.
Yeah, the problem with fear is that people will say anything when they are afraid.
Well, we got we got Zone of Truth up.
Well, yes, but just because, right, we can tell whether whatever he's rattling on about is a lie doesn't stop him rattling on at random tangents and start him actually talking about what we want him to talk about.
Which is exactly why we will use the Son of Truth for information, and then later the torture for fun.
Works for me.
Unless Arg takes him off to prison somewhere and we can't.
Oh, Ark is a
There's
very
ways.
amiable person. I'm sure we'll be able to get like 1 or 2 hits in.
Like I say, if he's too much of a dickhead, I'll just punch him.
Works for me. I'll heal if necessary.
So I love this. You're you know, a healer and a doer of good works and all that kind of nonsense. And you're like, yeah, sure, just punch him in the face. It's all good. Shock him, grasp his
Well, you're
blood.
not gonna. Well, you're not gonna kill him. Killing is different.
How is it like? Oh, okay. So I'm allowed to put him into fear. I'm allowed to cause him huge amounts of pain, but I'm not allowed to actually let him die.
Yes.
What the hell?
Well, he's a member of the death cult. I think it's justifiable from just that.
But not killing him.
No, because he won't. If he is in charge of this death cult, only he can stop it from doing whatever it is they're doing. So he needs to be alive.
Oh well, I thought you were talking about like morally rather than just like
No.
practically. Practically, no, we're not killing him.
No.
Or probably not torturing him either.
Aww.
It depends how hardball. If he wants, it depends if he wants to play hardball. If he wants to play hardball, we can play harder ball.
I don't think that works.
Oh. Well.
There's a phrase.
Okay. I'm new to this. Yeah. I'm learning as I go.
Tury's gonna quickly tap Thoradin on the shoulder and just say,
Quite truthfully, I promised Ark that I wouldn't beat the shit out of him, but if he gives certain answers, I may not be entirely in control. Could you just be right by my leg in case you need to stop me from running over there and beating the shit out of him?
Yeah, I can drag you back if need be.
Okay, great, thank you.
Hold me
Hey.
back.
Wait.
Oh great! Now
I
there's
mean-
2 of us, says Nadia.
So
We could
Scrappy-Doo,
shackle
like,
you.
Let me at him! Let me at him!
We could just shackle you.
I'd
So
rather
you
not
can't
be
move your
shackled.
arms.
If I'm shackled, then I can just use my legs. It's probably better that you just restrain me from running over there.
Just
Yeah.
sit on her, it's fine.
Don't sit on me, that's embarrassing. I don't want to be sat on.
Yeah, but it'll stop you moving.
Yeah, just hold my leg, I thought be fine.
I'll
That is an
restrain-
invitation you don't get every day, so isn't it?
Yeah, he's pretty happy with that.
doesn't
Right,
even
yeah.
think about it. She's literally just like,
Yeah, just hold my leg, it'll be okay.
Yeah, leg.
Well, that
body
was an
part.
icy remark. Oh, that's
yeah, that was a. She's not even thinking about it.
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Well, I guess we should get this ball rolling then.
I've got to wait for the wizards first.
Oh, they're not still back yet. There are teleports everywhere. You'd think that they'd be an instant thing.
Mm.
With that, if your guys are ready, so we'll
Stop talking
about
shit.
after an hour or so. About another hour or so, Arg and a bunch of his wizards will appear. So already there was
Gnome dude.
Aridon, the gnome, and then what appear are Yazis, the head of necromancy, Arg, the head of evocation and the archmage. We have Lun, the head of transmutation, and we have Zorus, the head of enchantment. All
that's
pop
a
up.
head of enchantment.
Cool.
So,
Huh.
so Arg pops in with all the wheels and good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
You see he's holding a book in his hand, and he says, "Right, today's the day. I know that Ballmill is ready and waiting to teleport Matthias here to us, so I will place his book on the altar here and go over the thing at the altar, and as he walks back he says, so we're going to have Lun on one side and Yazis on the other, ready to clasp. He produces the
manacles.
So manacles. Yep, the handcuffs. And says we'll use the anti magic handcuffs on Matthias just in case he has any other specialized magic to his nature. I wouldn't expect so, but you never know these days. The nature of the questioning is that I'm here as an arbiter. For it to be a fair and partial interview with Matthias when he arrives, and for it to be fair to the capital priests back at the capital, I need to be fair, both Matthias and yourselves.
A neutral party.
Exactly. So I will, when Matthias arrives, I will state to him the facts, and then Zorus will cast the Zone of Truth, which he will know if Matthias will accept or refute it or not, and hopefully, with all of us here, Matthias will accept it, and you can question him, and the rest of us here will be on watch to make sure that he doesn't do anything and that he's also safe. If that is fair.
Nadia nods.
So, are you ready?
Yes.
I guess so.
Waves performs a magic and appears a male dwarf and Matthias in brown robes. He kind of pops in with Ballmill, and he just like pops in, not even really looking around, and just says, "Right, next Ballmill. Right, onto the cap." This isn't the capital, Ballmill. Why are we here? And then Yazis and Lun kind of get on either of his shoulders and clasp his hand. Arg, Matthias is very shocked at this and very caught unawares. Arg, say, Matthias, lovely to meet you, see you again. So, you may not be aware, but I've been informed that you are the potential head of a death cult to Tur. We have evidence of such death cult as provided by the people in here that are not my members of my wizards. And you are accused of leading such a cult. You are accused of the deaths of countless peoples and traitorous nature and disobeying the true beliefs of your god. I'm here as arbiter and guardian of this accusation to ensure to the council of the capital priests that you will be treated fairly. Also, you'll be questioned by the people here. Zorus here will cast the Zone of Truth on you and ask you that you let it happen, and the questioning can begin. Please answer truthfully, as any lies will be all for naught and you will not be able to tell them. With that, Zorus will cast the Zone of Truth, and Matthias will look annoyed, and Zorus will just nod stoically, and I'll say, right, the Zone of Truth has taken effect. Please ask your questions.
Will anybody mind if I go first?
Please.
Go ahead.
Matt, how does
Hello.
he look? Hearing all of this from Arg, does he look like angry? Does he look worried?
Looks a bit pissed off, but weirdly serene. He's got like a smugness to his face.
It's not what you want.
The same level of smugness that Talari saw when he was interrogating her before in Tear Town.
Lovely.
I guess it's quite evident that like he looks quite pleased with himself.
No, it's just like it's like a natural smug.
Oh God.
Okay.
He's just inherently smug.
Yeah.
So, Turi, did you have a question for him?
Yes. Did you know that the death cult that you lead follows Sirik and not Tyr?
You're wrong. Death cult follow Tear.
Because he thinks it's true.
Okay.
Perhaps if we would step in the zone of truth and
We are in the zone of truth.
oh, we're all in it.
It's no, it's
No.
only him.
You misleading me.
Oh, is it only him? I thought
Yeah.
we were also.
It's
in it.
only
No.
it's only a 15-foot radius, so and I didn't ask you guys to if you guys were to thingy or not, so it's only him.
Oh yeah, right. Okay. Sorry, I
So-
massively mistook that.
That's
So
all
I'll kind
right,
of
no, it's only
look
him
at Turi and
that's in the
say, perhaps Turi, if you were to step in the zone of truth and speak.
I will step
it's only
forward.
when it's cast.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Okay. Well, I'll step forward anyway, just for
I
I don't know
Perfect.
You can
precedence.
step further. Sure.
I'll be on your heels.
Thanks. Be prepared.
So you agree that you lead the death cult, yes or no?
Looks annoyed, but says yes.
I've heard that Tyr is a just god. Why would Tyr tell you to do this?
Tyr told me to do this because justice is not always served in the world, and it is my duty, and the cult that I established for him, it is our duty to ensure that justice is served throughout the whole realm, not just in his own city.
Hold on a second here. We're doing this wrong. We need to make sure he has a very finite amount of answers to give. I will ask you the first question again. Did you know that the death cult you lead followed Sirik and not Tyr? Yes or no?
I tell you again, death cult follow Tyr, not Cyric.
Do
If he
you-
said they follow Tyr, he believes
Yeah,
they follow Tyr.
we-
Ah, that's true, that's true. Who do you
I
follow?
don't know why you believe I follow Tyr. I don't know why you believe the Cyric is involved. We follow Tyr and only Tyr.
What
If
do
you
you
were to
believe Tyr wants
find-
you to do?
Cast the Zone of Truth again with me inside.
That's just your beliefs against his, Tyr.
This is true, but I have more things that I can tell him.
Makes sense.
Nadia shrugs.
You can, Turygurtha, you can tell the truth whenever. You don't need
No,
to.
I know,
No,
but
no,
I need him
She wants
to
it
see
to be
it.
proven.
Turygurtha, as arbiter, we know you are. I know you are telling the truth.
It's not you she's
That
trying to prove it
truth
to, is it?
Your truth is not in question.
Okay,
She's
I
trying
got
to prove it to him that she's telling the truth.
Krusk. I don't know if you'll remember, but can you remember the spell Zone of Truth?
If you wish,
Let me check if I remember.
if you wish, you can be done so, Turygurtha, but you are not at trial here.
Oh,
It's not you.
I'm afraid, Turi, I don't remember the spell.
Og, it's not you she's trying to prove it to. It's him.
Very well.
He knows that she's under Zone of Truth and can only speak what she believes to be the truth.
Very well. He nods to Zorus, and Zorus again recites the incantation to do Zone of Truth. Again, Matthias looks annoyed, but allows it to happen. Do you do so too as well, Turygurtha?
I allow it to happen.
And then Zorus nods. And Ark says, very well. You are now in the Zone of Truth, Turygurtha. What do you say? You cannot tell a lie.
All visited me and told me the truth that Sirik, not Tyr, leads the death cult. I believe that you'll find most of the time when you pray to the darkness. Am I wrong? Yes or no?
I pray to Tyr.
Do you pray to the darkness? Yes or no?
I pray to whatever Tyr is and where. The darkness, the blindness, the just. He's all those things.
How does Tyr appear to you in your dreams?
He generally comes to me in darkness. He does not present a face to me.
That is how Sirik presents himself to me. Until the night that I dreamt him, when he realized that I knew exactly what he had been doing, he showed me a threat in a dream. He showed me exactly what I would have done many times for a contract. Killing myself in my sleep. It was a very definitive threat. You do not follow Tyr. Sirik has lied to you.
And where is your proof that it's Sirik? That you have a dream, and that Baal told you. Why would Baal tell you this? But to gain himself, gain a follower of you, perhaps. Draw you from Tyr's path, Turygurtha.
I can tell you one more thing.
You were a child of mine, were you not?
Do you know me?
Yes, you were an orphan, and you were trained under the cult to become what you are now today, Turygurtha. You shy away from Tyr's greatness by following the dark paths of Baal and Sirik, it seems.
I have one more thing that I can tell you. After all that has happened, I prayed to Tyr himself last night.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me that the Baal that told me that Sirik was a liar and had been showing the death cult the way the entire time, he told me that Baal had evidence against... Hold on. He told me that Baal had evidence that could abstain him from whatever his apparent crimes, which I imagine are exactly what you and I in the past have been doing.
And how did Tyr come to you in that dream, Turygurtha?
He spoke to me, but not in the way the darkness spoke to me.
Did he speak to you in... Did you see his face? Or did you see darkness, see nothing, and only hear his voice?
We're allowing the interrogated to become the interrogator, I think. How many
this is
people died?
interesting.
Well, how many? I think we should focus on the cult.
I will say honestly, no, I did not see his face.
Then how do you know? If you say that my dreams and my discussions with Tyr are a lie because they are darkness, how do you know you were not misled by the same way. How do you know what Tyr said, if that was Tyr himself? I trust in Tyr. I believe his goodwill and good faith has been speaking to me all this time. And that is what has been guiding me all along.
Then
I
what
bet you
would Tyr
choose to
have
believe
you
so
do?
as well.
What
Tyr?
would Tyr have you do?
He has me doing the good work of justice.
Which is
I need them to seek out true justice in the world, to make sure that those who seek justice for themselves and for others can do so
And
at a
you
fair
do this how?
balance.
someone who would do that surely wouldn't name themselves Death Cult.
We're Tears, Death Cult.
Yeah, that doesn't to me that doesn't sound right.
Has
Right.
Tyr has Tyr ever spoken to you about Cyric?
No.
Are
Why
you
would he?
aware of any activities of Cyric? Any enemies or factions aligned with Cyric? Anything like that?
Cyric is a bastard, from all I know. The capital priest that follows him is a bastard himself and sneaky. I wouldn't be surprised if Cyric has many enemies.
But you don't know of any in particular.
Well, it's not my interest to know of Cyric. It's my interest to know of Tyr, so why would I know?
Where is Cyric's high priest? Capital priest. Staying or located?
The capital?
Oh,
That's
I
what
forgot
capital
the
priests are for.
That's, Yeah.
So, just for my curiosity, when I came to you as an orphan, was I gifted or left?
Depends on your perspective. To me, you were a gift. But if you were left or not, I don't know. You were found. That I know.
Okay.
And that you were welcomed in open arms to us, given a family, food, shelter, training, a life. You have skills beyond imagination to others, and I'm proud of you, Turygurtha.
Nadia is going to come up. How cross does Turi look?
She's biting her lip right now.
Nadia's going to come up next to Turi and put a hand on her shoulder. Why do you consider it just that a child is given no choice but to become a killer? And she's staring right at the guy.
You assume she has no choice. She had the choice to leave the cult.
Turi,
She's
when were you
handing
given?
in now.
Turi, when were you given that choice?
I was blinded by faith. As you are blinded by faith now.
No, were you given a choice? Were you asked, is this what you want to do?
I do not remember such a question. I only remember a small room, a training ground, and the feeling of my knife under someone's throat.
She's back to staring at the High Priest. Where is the choice there?
I believe you. From your perspective, it may not seem true, but Turygurtha is standing right there before you. What looks like no longer a member of us.
She has
She
now
chose to
made
do this.
a choice. When did you give her a choice? You give her a choice.
She was free to leave whenever she chose.
When did you give her a choice?
I mean, it's kind of implied if
I want him to
did they
say
prevent
it.
you from leaving?
When did you give her a choice?
Turi, did they threaten you if you were to leave?
she freely left and came back. She could have left and gone forever, but she still came back, and I hope she will come back today.
So
Will
you
you,
never
Turygurtha?
gave her a choice then?
Turi, did they ever threaten you, saying that you weren't allowed to leave the cult?
There were rules.
Mhm.
There were strict instruction from mentors and trainers and such.
Hmm.
Go do the job, come back. Go do the job, come back. Leave no trace. That's what I remember. And then I remember the room being bad. Then I remember the room no longer being bad. And that is where my mistake lied. Because by then I had no other inkling of what else to be doing.
When was other training offered her?
She was trained in many things. She was not only trained to kill, she was trained in skills of acrobatics and tracking, and she could have used any of those skills to better pursue her life. In fact, Krusk over there, he is a shining example of Tyr, and he too was trained by my James, and he too trained Krusk there, and
Well-
he showed the aptitude for sword and shield and being such a glorious symbol of Tyr, and that's what he is. Turygurtha showed a sign of shadows and sneak and skills of stealth, and that is what she became.
That priest, Krusk's fathers, didn't seem to agree with you in their diary. Krusk, do you still have that journal of diary of theirs?
At the word of fathers, pluralizing father, Matthias looks disgusted.
Of course. Awful
Hey,
behaviour.
now, there's nothing wrong with my dads. Okay, they raised me.
To you
I
guys,
don't remember,
yes,
but I'm sure they
to,
did.
to Matthias, he didn't like that.
He's the leader of a death cult. He might as well be homophobic as well,
Might
you
as
know.
well, yeah.
Chuck it in,
If you
chuck
have
it
any
in.
more reason, if you have any more reason to hate him.
Pure evil.
Precise.
Didn't you say, back when you had your memories, Krusk?
How would he know? He's forgotten.
No, but he did say that his fathers saw the death cult for the truth, and they wrote as much in their diary.
Still has that diary.
I do have the diary.
That seems like fairly decent proof to me.
I'll also pipe up and say, yes, we have also transcribed the diary as well for further evidence against you, Matthias.
Matthias.
Oh, can I add another thing?
Absolutely.
To me, you say that you kill those that are not just. But we've also discovered that you take payments for such killings. To me, if someone was unjust, you wouldn't need to take payments for doing them.
It is the balance of all things. It is not a payment that we take happily, but it's a payment that must be taken for
Payment
To-
do you take?
to remove a life from this earth. You must pay a life, and so the person who wanted and had a just cause for such a death,
But
who
then
could prove that they were misled or were unjustly wrong against, that they would pay for their life for killing the other's life.
surely that's not how justice works. If that person has done something unjust, the punishment should justify that. Why would additionally killing an innocent person
A person who has been wronged.
by your own terms, you're telling that an innocent and victim must be killed, does not seem just to me.
Because to take a life extracts a heavy toll,
Yes,
and
and
one that must not go undone.
yes, and all you end up with is two corpses. Tell me, you will now be in charge of Tyr's ascendancy. Who would you select? Somebody like you? Or somebody more like the public face of Tyr?
I don't know. I'm currently not the capital priest of Tyr. I'm
You are
I would
about
need
to be
to
the capital
cons-
priest of Tyr.
Well, as he gestures in his cuffs, it seems I may not be.
Possibly not. But
Where-
were we not here, you were about to be the capital priest of Tyr. Would you select one of the members of your cult, a shining example like Turygurtha?
No, I would not pick a direct priest to be ascendant to Tyr. It must be someone of the people. We don't know because of you do not know for certain what thoughts may have been different. You must pick a shining example of Tyr from the public. That is the only way.
Did we find out if this guy was actually the did he confirm that he was a leader of the death cult?
Yes.
He didn't say. Well, he didn't say no when we said he led it.
Yeah, he's already confirmed that he's the leader of the Death Cult. He just still believes it's Tyr.
Where would we
Something is messing with the ascendancy. Something is messing with the balance of this world.
Oh, wait. The brands. They had a symbol on it of. What was
Scale?
it?
scale?
Scale, and what was either side?
A skull and a sun, I believe.
What if.
I see.
What if the balance had nothing to do with life and death, as Talari said many weeks ago? What if it's the scale of evil to good amongst the gods?
Yes, it's the balance of the world. They are the balance of the world.
So, here's my other question.
And if the person picked for the ascendancy of Tyr is an evil person, it will shift the balance towards evil and destruction. And
Yes.
the balance is already shifting towards evil and destruction.
So, in that line of thinking, if you are so sure that Tyr would lead the death cult and speak to you in darkness and cause so much death, quite frankly, if you truly think about it, if you truly think about those contracts, a life for a life, who decides? Who decides who is just and who is not? You say it is Tyr, but really think about it. It is that victim, and that is an opinion of a perspective of someone who feels wrong, but for what?
Well, we
So
don't.
do you truly think a god of justice who deals with things blindly would look into such a thing based on a single person's perspective?
Well, that's part of the contract, is that once they make a claim that they have been unjustly treated, then it is investigated. And then if that is done, that is proven correct, then that we deem it to be at the level of death, then that is what is taken.
Out of interest, yesterday, we saw a physical manifestation, or at least some kind of manifestation of a god. The god itself is irrelevant, but could we not repeat the process for Tyr himself and summon him here? Who better to know who is an agent of Tyr than Tyr himself?
How do you know you've got the right one?
There should only be one, should there not?
So it may be able to lie, but
What's in question here is the interpretation of Tyr. But if we would summon Tyr himself, then he would be able to say whether this Matthias, priest man, is one of his people or not. A god would have no reason to lie, especially if it's one of his priests.
That's very true,
And
actually.
we've got so many mages here, even the Archmage himself. I'm sure somebody's magic in this room is strong enough to do said task.
Arg will pipe up and say, unfortunately, under normal circumstances, you are correct, Talari. However, since Tyr is undergoing ascendancy, he is supposed to be cut off,
Forbidden
not
to meddle.
supposed to interact with the mortal plane. The fact that he has is a break of the symbols itself, and that's gonna be the end or the downfall of Tyr.
He's not wrong. In my prayer with him last night, he seemed particularly angry about this possible end.
Surely the God of Justice should not seek to escape that said justice.
The most just thing is, you would think, to right
To
this
turn
wrong
himself in.
and to not hide. You'd think.
I agree. It seems to me that perhaps
It's not hiding.
Tyr
not hiding
has
per se.
strayed from his own path.
Tyr is not in hiding. He's strictly forbidden from such things.
Perhaps there is some merit to what Matthias says. Perhaps it is Tyr. Perhaps something has corrupted him or led him astray. How do we know for a fact that it is Cyric? Tyr does seem to have flaunted some of the rules, it seems to me. Some rules that are quite, weighty.
Krusk,
Should we
I
not?
literally just told you. In a zone of truth.
It's true, but can we be sure? I'm just saying it's just a possibility. We don't have any hard physical evidence.
Your
either
father's
show.
said, specifically, your father's stories match Turygurtha's.
They don't talk about who's,
Pulling the strings.
yeah.
But there are strings being pulled.
And-
That's
Yes, there are strings being pulled. I think we know that. But all I'm saying is that perhaps Tyr isn't the paragon of justice that we believe him to be.
Oh, okay.
I don't
We
know.
are getting
I'm just,
slightly, well, slightly on the tangent, not completely on the tangent. The point is, we have bias. You accept that you are the leader of this death cult and have been killing possible innocents. Well, you probably don't believe they're innocents, but again, you're blinded right now. But you won't listen to that. What I
Matthias.
ask for you to do
Yes,
is
I
to
have been leader of the death.
question your conversations with Tyr. I want you to question why he did not show himself to you. Krusk, though he cannot remember now, and it would be very useful if he did, was visited by Tyr himself and saw him.
I do not remember.
When I was visited by what I thought was Tyr, I only saw darkness. Because it was actually Cyric. I understand that you will not believe this because you are so blinded by your faith. But question what publicly people know about Tyr and what Death Cult know about Tyr. There is too much that does not marry up. If he felt it was true justice, why hide?
He may have been corrupted.
Krusk?
Maybe he has been.
whose side are you on, Krusk?
This is all very new to me since I've forgotten a lot, but I like to think that perhaps I'm speaking with a fresh perspective here. That is it not possible for a god to be corrupted? I mean, if, as you're saying, Tyr is the god of justice, why has he broken the rules of the Ascendancy?
Perhaps felt there was no other way.
To be fair, either way, if Tyr was found breaking the rules, surely wouldn't that make his priests forfeit from any kind of ascendancy, and that would stop this death cult from doing what they're doing anyway?
And someone more reasonable for the God of Justice would be picked for ascendancy. I
mean,
don't know who would pick him, so.
But either way, it would, regardless of whether, wouldn't it solve the problem? I mean, we've seemed to have established that Tyr, one way or another, has done something against the rules.
Perhaps he didn't want to lose his power. It is his time. The ascendancy is here.
But if he is proven to have broken the rules, wouldn't that mean his priests, whether
No.
they're delusioned or
If-
not, shouldn't be allowed into the High Council priests?
That is not. The priests technically have
Done nothing wrong.
done nothing wrong if they
Under the
follow.
rules, correct me if I'm wrong, if he is interfering, his position is forfeit.
Mm.
The ascendancy
Arc
takes
says
place automatically.
I see.
you're
But-
correct.
The
It is
question
possible that he is desperate not to be replaced by somebody who does not share his values. It is possible he is afraid. But
So, out of curiosity, while we're, all talking here, because that's what's happening right now. If Tyr is true of his crimes and Matthias is also, does that mean a new priest is picked to pick the new Tyr? Or does that mean
I don't
Matthias
know.
gets to pick the new Tyr?
From my perspective, as independent in this scenario, from the facts laid out in front of me, it seems that indeed Matthias is guilty. And it doesn't seem indeed that Tyr is also guilty. Matthias certainly won't become the capital priest. He will undergo further discussions with the capital priest to see what his punishment shall be. And Tyr will, fortunately, as one of the last few original gods, be removed from his position. What happens in between, whether or not a different god picks up his mantle, or if someone is picked sooner, or
the position
that is
must
out of
not
my
be left
control.
empty.
That is up to the.
Hold on, you just said
Well-
a different god would pick up his mantle. How was that decided?
So, it really depends on the different gods around. The most obvious candidate for this in this scenario is Bahamut. He is also a lesser god of justice and a general and the dragon god of good. It is within his purview to oversee some levels of justice. Until a replacement for Tyr is found, it is likely that Bahamut will be asked to take up more of Tyr's duties.
As
That is really up to the council of the capital priests to decide that.
as Matthias has been found guilty, doesn't that also make that the rest of his death cult should also be found guilty of the same thing? I mean, what we don't want to do is make sure one of his members of his death cult end up becoming the new Tyr, because then you're back to the same problem.
Generally speaking, a priest of a god is not selected. That's the general convention is that's not how it goes, because of it's unclear whether or not that the god that's been picked for ascendancy could have influenced them differently to how the new ascendant person become the new god. That they might be slightly different, and so you don't want. The rules are very complicated. But generally speaking, a priest is not selected unless there is no other choice, and especially in this case, a priest of Tyr would not be selected.
I have another question. The former capital priest of Tyr, was he killed by your people?
Yes.
Is that you pointing that to Matthias?
At Matthias, yes.
Sorry, we'll still answer yes.
Was he killed by you?
I did not kill him, but
Helped.
while I was, in fact, led to believe the incorrect things, I did warn them about certain interferences and that he should die sooner.
Wow.
Who died for him? Who paid the price? What did he do that was so unjust? she's saying to Matthias. Because she quite liked the old capital priest and feels really bad for that soldier that she talked to.
It was not myself personally who killed him.
I asked, was it your people? So, it was. Who died for him? Why? What had he done that warranted such punishment?
He was resistant to true change.
That's not a crime.
He didn't think like you. That's what you kill
He-
people for?
No. God, this fucking zone.
Yeah, convenient, isn't it? And she's grinning at him in not a very reassuring manner.
Matt, DM question. Do I know why we killed him?
No.
Damn it.
were
Right,
just-
says a lot.
Is all this hesitation icy, or is this the GM trying to work himself around to point?
No, it's icy.
Oh, excellent. Nadia is just grinning more and more with every passing
Surely this pause is enough for, you know.
I'm waiting to see what he comes out with. Come on, what did he do that was so unjust? He was resistant to true change. That warrants the death penalty now, does it? God, I'm glad you're not in charge of more things.
He was the reason why more people died. More people were unjustly treated. And that was a crime that we couldn't uphold.
Why
Who was unjustly treated by him?
All those that he refused to help.
He refused to help?
Refused to take on the responsibility of a true capital priest to legislate change the right way. You see the evil priests
What change is
up
it
there
that you...
in the capital. You see that they are up there with equal say, instituting their evil ways, their evil thoughts. Those poor people in their poor cities who are subject to the evil gods have no choice. And he was resistant to true change.
So
He was
Turygurtha, who was kept locked in a cell, had a choice to leave your cult, but the people who wander around the evil god cities don't have a choice to leave? And come to some other city?
It's not the
Says
people.
Nadia, still grinning.
It is the priests who legislate the evil laws, who perpetuate the evilness in the world.
So you just don't like the evil gods then?
Is that a crime to dislike evil gods?
Absolutely, you may dislike whoever you want. I'm just ascertaining whether that's how you feel.
Oh, you know, some of them might be nice guys. You say they're evil, but have you ever got to know them?
Paladin, shut up. Not now.
Shouldn't be prejudiced.
Dark. If we're talking killing, then in front of you here you have murderers. In fact, that woman over there, she murdered 2 of my own guards in my own city hall. I believe that dwarf over there killed a prisoner in my own city hall as well.
Oh dear.
See, you bunch of animals. If you listen to Krusk, this one will come back on you.
And
Who is
you-
going to look back at Talari for a second? Nice.
Krusk doesn't remember, so he won't say anything.
You willingly take testimony from these and assume that they are just and right in themselves, but they are just as guilty as I am.
I have never,
Wait, that's cool stuff.
claimed to be just and right, says Nadia.
Am I guilty? Says Krusk.
Why are you asking him
Cru-
that?
Because Krusk is like that.
I know.
Krusk,
He does.
quite frankly, if you were ever to do a crime, I think it would probably not actually be a crime.
I don't really
We're not
think.
the ones on trial here.
Indeed, and plus, I don't think any blood on our hands just pales in comparison to yours, who is supposed to be a priest.
I was following.
Oh my
to-
good god.
Turi's gonna walk closer to him.
Turi, you said you didn't want to punch him in the face. Well,
Oh.
okay, you said we weren't to let you punch him in the face, says
I'm not.
Nadia.
I'm not going to hit him.
Okay.
Oh, she's in the
That's
side of
alright.
truth. She's in the side of truth.
No, she doesn't intend to hit him. I believe her.
She's gonna put a hand. His hands are in shackles, right?
Also, do you submit to another zone of truth? Because this one's about to run out.
Yeah.
It only lasts like.
If
I can't
Thoradin's
remember.
like,
Yeah,
if
that's fine.
Thoradin's on her
If
heels,
I'm right next to her,
yeah,
yeah.
Thoradin's on her heels, he'll probably be caught as well.
Are you moving closer, Thoradin? Because in this recasting, you will be in this. I think Nadia.
I have
Nadia's
within the zone
standing
of
right
truth
next
said
to
I'm
her.
not going to hit him, so it's your choice.
So you. you
I believe her. I'll let her go off.
the zone shift is being recast. Who is so we have Matthias in Turygurtha in
I think Nadia will probably be in because she
Nadia?
stood right next to Turi because you came up towards her to say you weren't going to hit him, remember?
and Thoradin. You're gonna let her go up closer but not get in the zone.
No.
Is that fair? Okay.
Yeah.
So Turi and Nadia, do you allow the zone to?
Yeah, she doesn't.
Okay. Continue.
If he's in clasps, she's going to cut one of his hands, and she's going to say, "You do not see it yet, but you have been made a slave by a puppeteer, and I am pity you. I'm sorry that you cannot see." But I want you to say something when you next pray to the darkness. Those death cult members? I'm coming for all of them. I will burn your cult to the ground. And tell Sirik that after that, I'm coming for him too. Just gonna let go of the hand and walk out of the zone of truth. And back away and say, I'm done here.
Do we even know where to find these people?
There are very many ways.
All right.
After all, she has been well trained.
Fair.
I have a question for Arg.
Yep.
You said earlier that Tyr would be stripped of his power for his crimes. What does that mean for the being who is now Tyr? Does he die? Does he just lose his powers? What happens?
Like all gods who lose the ascendancy, they cease to exist.
I see. And how is this done? This stripping of his power, is it like a ritual or?
Unfortunately, that is not privy to my knowledge. Only the couple of priests and the priest of priests are aware of such things.
But you think it will be done?
It will probably be deliberated further, but from my perspective, the case is clear. Tyr is guilty.
And if you said that the likely candidate would be Bahamut, is that something also decided by the capital priests?
Yes, and also discussed with Bahamut himself as well, to an extent, to ensure that he's capable and ready
Willing.
for such a thing, and willing as well. Yes, thanks, Nadia.
Arg, if he is stripped of his power, what happens to the power?
Well,
And she looks quite thoughtful.
his seat is. If we go by from what I know of Tyr, his seat will be vacated in his tower in the plane of war, if I recall. His power will be untouched until another takes his place.
Plane of war, you say?
Because what I
domain
said,
of war.
Domain of war, sorry.
Yeah.
because what I said about the balance of the world is not idle rambling. It is happening already. And if Tyr is removed, rather than simply having his followers subverted, I'm worried it's going to happen faster.
Yes, and it's very much up to the capital priests to deliberate and decide, and potentially speed up the ascendancy process, because that is just as important to be the right to be ascended to Tyr's place as well as at the right time.
You'd like to think that the priest of priests are aware of balance.
You'd like to think,
You'd
yes.
like-
So whoever claims his power will need to travel to the plane of war and to the tower and take it. Is that how it works, or
I don't know. I don't know the ascendancy stuff.
is there someone who would know? Out of interest, asking for a friend.
Is this really relevant, Krusk?
I'm just curious.
Krusk wants the power.
No, I'm just curious how it works.
He wants the power!
The process is very well closely guarded by the capital priests.
Probably so people can't mess with the
undergo.
system.
And then they undergo ascendancy. I'm sure that if Bahamut were to take on Tyr's responsibilities, that he would be potentially share some of that power Tyr originally had. The exact rule of how the power works with gods is it's a bit weird for me.
Are they okay with the fact that he's a dragon god?
What's that got to do with it?
Well-
Racist as hell.
Well,
oh my
aren't
God.
all the other gods like not dragons?
No, there are other dragon gods.
Oh,
There's an evil one for a start.
I am.
That's not my place to decide. Personally, that's up to the capital priests to deliberate and discuss.
If it works,
it's
it
way above my
works.
pay grade.
Oh, sorry, I have
nothing
one more
wrong with
question for you.
dragons.
Do you personally believe that Tyr has fallen by the wayside, shall we say? He's been led astray or corrupted, or has otherwise abandoned what he stands for?
To maintain my independence, I shall refrain from answering that.
Plead the fifth.
Do you believe it's possible for that to happen to a god?
Anything's possible,
I
certainly.
see.
Is that really part of this trial or anything like that?
I was just curious.
Just curious.
Quite frankly, in regard to this trial, I see no other questions.
I mean, it seems like we've achieved what we've set out to do.
Haiss has pleaded guilty. He truly believes there is his...
I mean, none of us really have too much of a deep tie with Tyr. If he gets dethroned, then so be it.
I
If
mean,
he's
at this
broken the
point,
rules, he's
no.
broken the rules.
No, I do not.
Well, exactly. If he's abused his position as the god of justice, it makes
We
sense
just
that
got justice.
he should suffer the punishment for that as well.
I agree. It only seems just.
What happens to Tyr Town if he gets destroyed?
Tyr as a concept stays,
Yeah.
Precisely.
just not
Oh,
the
okay.
person.
I was just...
And then a new one will be created? No, that's not right.
Ascended.
No one
Ascended.
will
Yeah.
ascend.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Given the power, I guess.
Yeah, this is all new to Thoradin. He doesn't really know.
All right. I mean, I think we've achieved what we set out to do. There's nothing else. I mean, more questioning's not going to get us anywhere, really. As far as I
Yeah.
can see.
I would agree, said Ark. So, for what's going to happen next for you guys? Matthias here will be taken to the capital, where the evidence that you have collected and presented to me will be presented to the capital priests, and they will deliberate and discuss for what they want to do. Certainly, I will bring up the concerns that you have raised, Nadia, that the balance has been shifted, and that
Ask the
certainly.
capital priest of Sylvanas if Sylvanas is willing to talk to me. He's almost certainly willing to talk to his own capital priest.
There'll need to be some delicateness with this, because if the evil priests get whiff of this, it's going to be a feeding frenzy for them. But
Don't say.
I should certainly try and them hearing that Tyr has been abusing his power potentially. It'll be right for all sorts of bad for the good priests. But that's capital priest politics for you. They will certainly deliberate and take their time. You can come with me if you wish, but they may take quite long to discuss and come up with a decision. Or you're very much free to leave today, and I can give you some form of communication with myself, and at least open communication to people who can contact you if you are required by the capital, and you can go on your way. And OC, this is the time skip or not question. So if you agree to go with Arg to the capital, there will be a month time skip while the capital priests deliberate.
Right.
Or you can just go leave Cannonball's Island and go about your ways. You'll all be given like a sending stone, like Nadia has, to communicate with you guys once the priests have finished their deliberations. If you do accept the time skip, you all will be able to learn a new skill that you haven't got before. So it's really up to you guys if your characters want to go with Arg and wait for a month, or not go with Arg and do things in the world and then in game time a month will probably pass and you'll be called back again.
So wait a minute, if we go with Arg, we hang around for a month and time skip, and if we don't, you would not in the capital city. And if we don't, you would not time skip, so we could roleplay doing stuff.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
But I guess that would be subject to us all.
Essentially, what will happen is if you don't time skip, we will the next time we come around to do this game again, you'll just continue where we left off.
Okay.
But I suppose
Or if you time skip, we can discuss if you do time skip, we can discuss what you guys do in the capital, like what you want to learn, how you want to learn it, and things.
But we could split up though, like some of us could follow, some of us not, but we would still be effectively a time skip.
I was about to say, if we time skip anyway, if we want to like go and do little things in the world,
within reason, I suppose.
That's certainly allowed.
Okay.
What does everyone else think? The trouble, I think, is that the main thing that has been holding this party together has now
got his memory wiped.
Well, yeah, Krusk has had his memory wiped, and we were trying to deal with this dickhead of a high priest, which we've now done.
Because the only thing that I can think of that was kind of left undone, which again was driven by Krusk, was to sort out and liberate Surtur's Deep. But I don't really see there's any reason for us to do that right now.
No.
Krusk certainly never discussed it majorly with the group. We know he didn't like the place, but we never agreed to do anything about it.
True, but I have a feeling if Krusk was of right of mind, that probably would have been the next step.
Quite possibly, but he's not. And none of us I see know anything about it. Nadia certainly wouldn't be down for that kind of thing.
No.
Oh, could we have just a
Yeah,
little
we need like a
moment to
team
discuss.
meeting, I think, in private.
in private
So-
about what we want to do.
If you hand us ascending stuff, I don't know if you're going to teleport and do something with this guy, but it would be good if we could have like a private conversation. If you leave one of your sending stones, we can sort of say when we've come to a decision.
Or we could just go into the other room.
That works.
Yes.
That works,
the camp, I believe Torm soldiers of Torm Village have still got the camp set up, so we can certainly wait there until you guys decide.
Yeah.
I did half an hour ago.
I'll give you an hour
Okay.
here if you wish, and I'll come back in an hour and see what you guys have to decide. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with that, him and all his wizards will walk out.
And the capital
Surprise.
priest.
And with the capital priest, yep.
I'm not
and
so
oddly,
capital priest.
not yet. No
Does
longer.
he look less smug now?
You're just more like glaring at you guys.
Oh yeah.
Surprisingly, Arg walks out as well. That's quite against the trend that he's in with him, but
Does seem to be, yeah.
Oh dear.
That was weird. Did you see that? He was walking.
I'm surprised his legs even work nowadays.
I mean, he does walk. He just teleports more.
Yeah.
Okay, so, thoughts. How do people feel about going now or going later? There are certainly things for me that I would like to look into.
I'm a bit concerned about this idea that Tyr may have been corrupted. I think perhaps it's worth investigating further.
How would you want to do that?
Surely the priest
I've
would your capital.
lost my memories of the world. I was hoping maybe
I was
you
about
guys
to say,
would.
this might be a silly question for me to ask you, yes. Honestly, I haven't a clue how you would work out whether a god has been corrupted.
Perhaps we should start with some of Tyr's allies and see if we can find out if they've also been corrupted.
Perhaps.
That reminds me, isn't Tyr part of this triad? Why don't we ask the other members of the triad?
That I do not know what the triad is, but it sounds like a very good starting point.
The triad, if I remember correctly, was like a three-prong of gods. Tyr being one of them, Torm being the other, and Ilmater being the other. If we speak to Torm or Ilmater, maybe they can shed some light on Tyr and his corruption.
Thank you, sorry. Yes, I think unless you think either of them is closer to Tyr, I think yes, we should start with one of them. And
I mean, we passed through Ilmater
Find
they
town.
are known to be an alliance.
We went through Ilmater town on the way here, so surely that would be the best place to do that. On Torm Village? No, we haven't been to Torm Village. Someone's from there, I think.
if you're familiar with...
No, we have been to Torm Village.
Have we been to Torm
It's
Village?
next to- Torm Village is next to the Zeus City. It's the next city down.
Right.
People of
Okay.
Torm
Oh,
Village
yeah.
are here in the island. They are
Oh, yes, we
generally
haven't been there
soldiers
yet.
We haven't been there yet, so if that's closer, it makes more sense to go there.
of nearby.
Sorry, what were the two? Ilmater and...
Ilmater and Torm. Torm, the god of courage and self-sacrifice, and Ilmater is the god of endurance. Both good gods, I believe.
But we haven't visited Torm, you're saying?
No, but Torm is supposedly close by. Well, maybe people in Azuth are saying as much. We did pass Ilmater, but I think that's quite far from here.
I think let's start with Torm then.
You've seen soldiers of Torm
Hmm.
on the island, and they served you breakfast.
Oh, nice.
They
Well, there you
did.
go then.
Cool
So-
bastards. Okay.
So that might be our best bet. Go to Torm Village, speak to the priest there. We may be able to find out something, potentially.
Perhaps.
Maybe they've
Okay.
caught whiff of it in their conversations with Torm.
Okay, if everybody is in agreement, I think yes, we should go to Torm. We should decline Arg's offer, find out what's going on exactly with this corruption, see if it's spread to Torm, and if necessary, deal with him, just as we've dealt with whatever's gone on here.
Yes, that's what I like to hear, Krusk. Dealing with the corruption, smashing some skulls. I'm sure that.
Sure, there'll be many
This
skulls.
is-
Don't know how-
This
yeah.
is something you often would say. Burning out the corruption. It's quite nice to hear.
I feel almost like
Something's
myself.
apparent- Some things apparently don't change.
I guess some things have just burnt into Krusk, I guess. That's just the way he is.
DNA.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the way he is.
There's one thing we should possibly be aware of, and I should ask you all your opinion on it. As you know, Serek has made threats at me. Paul, obviously, doesn't
like
me
you
very
anymore.
much. No,
And you've pissed off
that is
Tia.
too. And Tyr's probably upset, but there's not much he can do about it, I don't think.
Well, if he's broken the
Tyr
rules.
is less likely. Tyr is less likely to visit in the middle of the night with a knife.
The point I'm making is if there is a target on my backs, there will be a target on your backs.
There's always.
I only have one goal, and that is to kill Cyric, and if I have to deal with Baal, I will deal with Baal. I will not drag you into my conflict.
There's been a target on my back ever since we left Tear Town, so to me, there's no difference.
One of them was a vexed, admittedly a death cult, but nevertheless a vexed priest or two. The other one is two gods of killing shit.
True.
There's a bit of a difference.
Well, it wasn't just a god. I mean, they was a priest. They did hire guards to track us as well. We had a
What
whole
I'm
like
saying
of
is-
guards.
It is a high amount of danger, and you have all been kind to me and very helpful in dealing with this priest. And I think it is only fair to give you a choice on how much danger I put you in.
Well, we've kind of,
Turi, we're with you. We got your back.
we've come
The gods haven't killed us so far. We'll be fine.
We've come this far. We might as well carry on.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Also, Turi, if one of your well-wishers does turn up in the middle of the night with a knife, wouldn't it be nice to have some backup?
This is true, but
You can't take
I
him
would
on the run.
rather the knife only came for me than all of you as well.
That's alright. I'll probably kill you first anyway, but no matter what we do.
We will stand by you, Turi. We won't abandon you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that as well.
Okay. Your choices are made. That is fine. Then the other thing I will let you know is even if we are looking for this corruption, if I catch a whiff, a scent, anything, any trace of death cult, I will go ahead first.
I mean, you'd like to think at this point he's probably somehow told the rest of them that you've defected and got him in the shit.
That doesn't mean that I'm not still going after them.
True, but
True.
it probably means they're probably coming gunning for you as well.
Turi,
Yeah?
if you're going to go rooting out this death cult, which I can't say I disagree with, are you willing to at least... Well, yesterday you charged off thinking you could handle the fight and you really couldn't, and we had to jump in and rescue you twice.
Indeed.
I don't want that happening when we don't know where you are and don't know what's going on. Running into a situation you can't handle and getting yourself killed is going to help absolutely nobody. If you want to go after this cult, fine. But if you also don't want to put us at undue risk and don't want to, even if it's sheer bad luck, fuck it up, you're going to have to agree to do some things at least as a team player.
Or at least allow us to come with you to take down the death cult.
Perhaps we'll find more cult offshoots or something where we're in a torn.
Either telling us what's going on, or asking us for help, or being willing to wait so that we can help you.
Okay. I can learn to deal with this. I can grow.
You're not by yourself anymore.
Little tear comes down.
Turi, you gotta let us into that hard outer shell.
I don't think Thoradin's talking about something completely different.
Turi is going to get like a clap on the shoulder from Nadia, given the relative difference in sort of height and upper body strength. It's probably slightly painful for her,
I'll take it.
but it's meant in a friendly way.
If Nadia puts her hand on Turi's shoulder, I'll do the same, but using my mage hand.
Oh my god.
Look at the glowing hand, just like.
I'll
Yeah,
have
Yeah,
but
but,
Daddy's.
but she'll have her
Daddy's
arms
gonna-
crossed, trying to look cool about it. Like,
Daddy...
you know.
Oh, Talari has got a heart. Now Nadia's gonna give her a clap on the shoulder and then put like her arm around Tiri's shoulder. Like,
Okay.
Thoradin's gonna go for a group hug. For
Oh,
both
group
of them.
Turi
Not
is
a shout,
hands
but-
in at the waist and just awkwardly standing like, okay, no, right, okay, there's so much I can take in one day. Stop touching me.
Come on,
Get off
guys.
me.
Nadia will stop touching her as soon as she starts like cringing, basically.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thoradin, let go.
Yeah, there'll be like a 2-second delay. And then
Oh,
I'll let
don't
go.
be a dick. And Nadia's gonna like poke him in the face until he lets go.
Oh, group hug.
Yeah, but if she doesn't want you to hug her, it's not very nice, is it?
Plus, it's not really a group hug if you're the only one doing it.
Yeah.
You got a point there.
Okay.
Well,
So
I
There's
guess
only so much fun can take in one day, okay? Team is nice, but, you know, touching, too much.
well,
No touching.
I don't know about you guys, but I kind of think we should get off this weird undead island and at least get back to Azuth City where it's, you know, there's food and beds.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say, can we take a couple of days to fucking chill out after this? Because
Yeah.
But Spawn, the cult.
right,
Yeah.
Krusk, how
We
much
will
good are
do.
we gonna do? Arriving there, absolutely fucking knackered, absolutely
If we
bugger
take the ship, we can rest while we travel.
I suppose. And also,
What
Krusk,
do you need shipped for?
don't you
Can
think
we
you
have the map, Matt? So we know where we're
You want the
going.
map?
also like Krusk, maybe you want to like
Certainly.
take a couple of days to figure out. You know, you've been
Who
through
you
a lot
are?
of stress at this point. I think you may want to
What
like
the-
sort your own like head shit out.
I was planning on reconnecting with some of you, so
Oh God.
Number
perhaps it'll be
10.
Not
You're
this
gonna have to
shit
do all your
again.
questions again. It's number 10, Torm Village, Matt.
Yeah. Looks like it.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, so generally the ship go back to Zoo City first before
Yeah,
or
makes sense.
village.
So that's fine. Do we want to... I mean...
Yeah.
I would rather go back.
Firstly,
Yeah.
time skip. Do we feel like travel down to Torm Village time skip, or do we feel like we need some training time, preparing ourselves, blah, blah, blah?
Training
What I'm
montage.
asking is, are we doing a training montage, or are we just going straight there?
I like the idea of doing a training montage personally because it amuses me mostly.
Yeah.
I think
Bit
yeah,
sparring.
if we are gonna do anything like quite majorly, a time skip. But then the thing is, a time skip is probably just gonna get us summoned by Arg, so we probably won't.
Well, we don't have to skip loads of time, but
Oh, so
there's also nothing meaning we have to roleplay hanging around Azuth City for a couple of days, patching ourselves up
So you think of like
and
a time
twiddling
skip?
our thumbs, and
I
then
mean, instead of a month,
travelling
could
all
be
the
a
way-
couple week
Yeah,
time
yeah,
skip.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just a shorter
Yeah,
time skip.
that's
yeah,
fine.
Makes sense.
It's absolutely within reason if you want to do that.
Yeah. So 2 week time skip and then
Some rest and recuperation and
yeah. Hence
Just
the
Yeah.
in
crust
regards
Oh,
to
my
training to prepare for a new skill, possibly with my longbow, maybe, possibly.
Yeah.
potentially
Yeah, I've
level
got
up
some
or,
training
you know,
to do.
You know.
I've if we want to have like some chats with people, I might just can we like just message them on Discord kind of thing and then tell Matt
yeah.
because it's
That's-
like 2
yeah.
weeks, I
Because
guess.
Because I think a lot of
so-
the crust
okay.
stuff's going to ask is information that's already been said and known. So
Yeah, I'm
Plus,
picturing
because-
these conversations just being Krusk asking questions.
again, the same ones probably. So,
Yeah,
you know,
that doesn't have to be done on here or anything like that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Nadia
With it-
has determined to introduce Turi to the wider world. This may go badly.
Oh no. No, 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 no. Not the wider world. It's far too much.
Need to know things, okay?
No,
Yes.
not no. Even
Yes. Yes, yes. Yes,
No.
yes. Do it, it's fine.
So yeah. All right.
Very
So,
visibly cringes the idea.
Ark will come back in to the church after you've been discussing. He said it will come in and say, "Well, what has been decided?"
As much as we appreciate your offer, Arg, we think that we'll be declining. We would very much appreciate if you kept us up to date with what's going on, but we've decided that we have our own path that we must walk.
Very well. What do you aim to do with him until you may not be called?
We think that this potential what's happened with Tyr warrants further investigation. We're planning on investigating the village of Torn to see if there's any similar sort of corruptions, any clues as to what happened to Tyr, you know, any further signs of the cult, anything like that.
Mm-hmm. You planning on doing that right away?
I'd like a break first, says Nadia.
I would like to train. I need to be as prepared as possible.
Yes. If this fight has shown us anything, is that we are not strong enough for the fights ahead.
Okay. You gonna? Because.
Sorry, Matt, you cut out. Could you repeat that last sentence?
Do you plan on staying in one place during this rest that you are planning? I mean, to avoid inn fees, I can certainly arrange for a house for you all to stay in a zoo city.
That would be most appreciated. Yes.
Yeah, that would be handy.
House?
Yeah, you got to share a house with us, Terry.
But by no means would it be luxury, but it'll be cheaper than an inn.
No, that would be much appreciated. Yeah.
Oh God.
How would you feel about that?
Well, if I put it this way, at least you're not going to have to, be outside. You'll be able to shelter yourself from the sun indoors.
I've never lived in a house.
It's like an inn, but no one else is there.
Right. Interesting.
It would be just us.
Great.
It's alright, you'll get used to it.
Well, yes, thank you, Og, I think.
Alright.
Okay. So, with that, we shall end here, shall we?
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything else that
Yeah, I
we
can't think of anything else that's...
Can't think of anything else.
There's like some details that we can hash out
later.
off screen.
Can we find out where our house is?
Well, I need
Show
to
us on the
decide.
map.
I want a pinpoint on
Colour
the
it.
map.
Colour it in.
I need to decide.
Like, this is where you are.
Right next to the bank.
Oh my god.
Oh god, no.
Could you imagine? You'd just dig a tunnel somehow straight to the bank.
Yeah,
You would. Go on a heist. We'd spend the whole downtime trying to stop Thoradin from committing a robbery.
God.
Or assisting him so he doesn't get caught.
Oh, man.
I need to rejig some bits and pieces
Yeah,
that's
that's cool.
to have a house for you guys, but or at least map wise. But
Do we level up?
no, you leveled up.
I'm
Like,
literally just leveled up.
Ah,
Yeah, I know, but we got like
I'll
training
give it-
montage.
I'm giving you a skill.
That's a skill,
Well,
man.
I was
That's
gonna
the
say.
same thing. That's not the
that is
same.
good.
It's a freebie.
So it's a freebie.
Whinging, Sonny.
I used to get asked every
know-
session, do we level
Wow,
up?
wow. Do I level up?
Oh dear.
If
Always
it's
worth
a
asking.
month, maybe you might have leveled up, but who's
Ah.
to say?
Oh, never mind.
It's okay, we got shit to do in that 2 weeks.
Yeah,
It's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. 2-week time skip, perfect.
Sounds good to me.
Right.
Also, avoid the awkward what the fuck are we doing when it was only yesterday issue you have when you have an OC break but not IC break.
Yeah. That's true, yeah.
Mm-mm.
Alright, I'm gonna stop the record. 3, 2, 1.